Let's bring in Chip Kelly, who joins us, the UCLA head coach. It's 7:30 your time. Is it too early for a bratwurst for you?
We do not have the grills fired up at the moment, but I can make a suggestion. So
Yeah, I think it sounds pretty good.
that sounds good.
When's the last time you tailgated?
Oh God. Don't know. Couldn't tell you.
You've never gone through the parking lot at the Rose Bowl and then decided to just stop off and maybe grab a dog or say hello to some boosters?
There were some games I probably should have. Let me just stay here. I don't know if the next 60 minutes are going to be what I want it to be. So,
how do you explain what has happened here in the last 2 months, 6 weeks? I don't know. I mean, this is crazy.
It is. The best thing is when you say it's 2020. Yeah. So anything is expected. I think we all thought on August 11th that we weren't going to play. There were some of our schools, obviously, and it's different because it's different here. That's the one thing about COVID is that it's different in different parts of the country. So when you look at there are other people playing, well, it's not that bad in their state. And then there's other states where, we were not allowed in our building till the beginning of this week. So we have not been in this building that I'm in right now. Our players had not been in a weight room since March until Monday. Oh, so it's different. So when people say, how come they're not playing? Well, there's different restrictions at the state level and the local level that prevented us from preparing our guys to play. So we understood when the decision was passed down in August because of the restrictions that a lot of us were on. So, I think the rapid testing on a daily basis is the key. And that's what we hope will be able to get us to play on November 7th.
Is 6 weeks enough time to get ready?
Yeah, it's pushing it. And I hear people say, how does it take 6 weeks? Well, because our players hadn't been really doing anything. If our players in a normal year are with our strength coach during all of June and all of July, then you need 4 weeks of camp and you can go because they've had 8 weeks to get ready for camp. There are some schools, us specifically the California schools, that haven't had the opportunity to do that. So we think 6 weeks will prepare us for it. But as you watch other leagues, and that's what we've done, watch other leagues, you're concerned, and the concern is you look at all the injuries that have happened in the National Football League, and they had 6 weeks to ramp up, and the injuries that are an all-time rate, and they kind of rival when the strike season happened in 2011, so there's a correlation there between how much time you have to prepare. And we're very cognizant of that. That's why I think they gave us 6 weeks, and we just have to be really smart with these 6 weeks that we have coming up here.
Yeah, I looked at what was happening in the NFL, and I gave my audience a heads up. I said, you're going to see soft tissue injuries because you didn't get that opportunity. You can't simulate, a game. No matter how much you try, you can't. And so, I mean, how much of a concern is that going to be for you with your players?
I think it's a concern for all the coaches in our situation. And you talk to the coaches in the Big Ten that are 2 weeks ahead of us. It's the same concern with all of us. If a player tests positive for COVID, he's out for whatever the time he has to quarantine. If he's asymptomatic, is it 14 days or 21 days, depending on what your league is. But if a guy pulls a hamstring, he could be out for 21 days also. So, and when you're playing a 6-game or 7-game regular season, if you're missing 3 weeks with a hamstring injury, it's like missing a season. So we have to be really smart in how we prepare our guys.
I don't know if it's better than spring football because you didn't get that opportunity for spring football. And last time we talked, we didn't think we were having fall football. But would you rather have this truncated 6-7 game schedule or roll the dice and try to play in the spring?
As long as it's safe. And I think what the key is the fact that we have daily testing. So if you tell me it's a safe environment and that every day we go to work out here, the guys we're working out against, we're positive that no one is carrying COVID, then we want to play and we want to compete, and our players are excited about that. But they have the same concerns. Is it going to be a safe environment? And from what we understand with the new testing, they're starting to implement that. We're hopefully by next week. That it will be. And if it's a safe environment, our guys want to play football. They want to compete. And we all want to do that. Spring ball's fun from a teaching standpoint, but, whoever wins the spring game, for who gets burgers and who gets hot dogs is, or now bratwurst, we could add bratwurst. Isn't really like playing against SC,
And then you look at you're getting started later, and can a team get into the Final Four conversation with the Pac-12?
Yeah.
And you're probably going to, get X'd out. You're not going to have enough games and the time frame as well. And I don't know if you have a great team in the Pac-12 this year.
You're right on all points. And I don't know how it fits. I think at least there'll be a conversation, but you don't know. And there's so many unknowns. The fact that you're getting all these congratulations phone calls on, hey, you guys are going to get to play. I'm like, well, we hope so. And they, what do you mean by that? I said, there's already been 21 games canceled. So, we could get to the beginning of our season and then have games because of COVID and an outbreak on a campus or at a school and have some of our 7 games canceled. So we have a 7-game season scheduled, but that doesn't mean we're going to get them all in. And you look at Houston, who's had 5, they've had 5 games canceled. That I don't know how we would handle that. If we start, we're playing a 7-game season and you get 5 of them canceled. So I don't know. And I heard them say yesterday, the one thing that they came out with was that there's no threshold for games won to be bowl eligible. So I'd like to congratulate everybody in the Pac-12 on being bowl eligible. Right.
Are we having regular bowl games?
I think they are, but I don't know. I don't think you can use the word regular at all in 2020. Okay, so what does that mean? But you may fly somewhere and play a game real quick, but then is the opponent playing with the same testing protocols that you have? And there's a lot more that goes into a selection. That selection Sunday will be very interesting. Like we have to match up people that have the same testing protocols. So let's put this team against that team. Well, neither of the teams won a game. Don't worry about it. They're really good at that. So you don't know. I hope that our testing protocol puts us at the top of the list for bowl selection. So,
well, maybe you'll face a Big Ten team that they would have the same testing.
I think they got the same testing, so that'd be great.
We're talking to Chip Kelly, UCLA head coach. What do you remember about Gardner Minshew at Washington State?
We didn't play against him because we missed him in the rotation. So I just watched him on film.
Oh, okay.
And was so thoroughly impressed, just with his competitiveness, his decision making, how quick he was and how decisive he was in making decisions. And it's, part of what Mike does with his quarterbacks, but he may have been one of the better ones to ever play in that system for him. And you're seeing him do it in the NFL. It's last night wasn't a great night for him, but I know what he's done up until this point in time has just been kind of extraordinary, to be honest with you.
Best quarterback you ever faced?
Ooh.
Where you just didn't have an answer?
In the NFL, it was Aaron Rodgers. He just, there were times I think he was just smiling. Like, oh, you're going to play this coverage? I'll throw it here. Oh, you're going to play this coverage? I'll throw it here. All right, this one I'm going to keep the play alive for a little bit, and then I'm going to throw it. It kind of looks like I'm going right, but I'm going to throw it left. So, and I know Aaron, and it was a long day. At the college level,
and I still maintain, though, Coach, Aaron Rodgers when he's great, he makes it look easier than any other quarterback I've ever seen, and that's bringing in a lot of quarterbacks. Rodgers, and I understand that feeling of what you must have because he just at times he feels like he's playing chess and you're playing checkers with him.
I agree. And in the same note, I would put Russell Wilson in that same category because Russell can just beat you with his legs. And Russell's like, oh, you're going to be in coverage? I'll take off and run for 20. And then you never can hit him because Russell will never take a hit because he's so smart. And then he also just sticks the ball out for an extra yard just to add insult to injury every single time he goes out of bounds. And he's got the same, they both have the same passion for playing. So they're always up. They're always positive. They were difficult. At the college level for us, it was probably Cam, when we played him in the national championship because it was like the first time you ever see Cam in person, he looks like Charles Oakley. And he's playing quarterback, and you're like, oh my God, like this is the quarterback. He's bigger than anybody we have on our defensive line. So, and then the combination of how well, the thing that impressed me the first time I saw Cam is how well he threw the ball. You would think, all right, this is Brandon Jacobs back there, and they're just going to run quarterback power all the time. But he can really spend it. He's one of the best. We played him in the NFL also. He's one of the best deep ball throwers I've seen. So, Bill's got the Patriots are the real deal with Cam at quarterback.
But did you face Brady?
Yes.
And you didn't come away with that same impression that you had with Aaron Rodgers?
No, let's not get into that.
Would you rather say something negative about USC right now?
We're just hopeful we could get on the field and play a game. We're all in a happy place right now. But Tom's phenomenal too. There's so many when they're playing at that higher level. We played Peyton, and that was just a clinic. And it's when you get to see those elite guys play, the Tom Brady's and the Russell Wilsons and Cam and Tom, it's hard to beat.
But when Peyton,
that's why everybody says if you have a quarterback, you got a shot. When
Peyton goes to the line of scrimmage, and on the sidelines that he knows what you're doing, like how intimidating or frustrating is that?
We played them in Denver my first year, and it was first down, and it was so close to the red zone, and you could tell as he caught the snap, he didn't like the route the receiver was running, so he immediately threw it in the ground like he was spiking the ball, and then he said something to the receiver, ran back to the line of scrimmage in a hurry-up mode, and threw a touchdown pass on us. And I was just like, anybody else would have tried that. Well, the receiver ran the wrong route. I'm going to extend this play and, try to see if I can make something out of it. He was like, wrong, throws it in the ground, gets up, next play, touchdown. And I was like, wow, I've never seen that before. But he knew exactly what he wanted, and he got the look he wanted, and he knew he was going to score. That's very difficult to defend.
What about the defensive player? Peyton would talk about how Zach Thomas, like there's certain defensive players, they would just, whenever he called out something, he would go, look for the draw, and he said he was one of the smartest players that he went against. Is there a defensive player that's the equivalent of Peyton or some of these other quarterbacks?
When I was there, it was Luke Kuechly. I mean, he could diagnose everything and anything. And, there were checks you put in that game, and he was calling out the check. I was like, that's the first time we've used that check. Like, how does he know that? But he was just such an instinctive linebacker. You try to do some things in terms of how you hand it off and make it look like a counter move, but you run an inside zone and you fool him once, you call it another time 35 plays later, and you didn't fool him, and he's in the backfield for a 2-yard loss. And the same kind of look that Aaron would give you, a smile and like, hey, you got me once, but you're never going to get me twice. But Kuechly was like that.
It's great to talk to you. You got a smile on your face. Hopefully we got football coming up here.
We got our fingers crossed. So we hope that on November 7th, we could have a bratwurst.
Well, hopefully it's a victory bratwurst.
Yes.
Thank you, Coach.
Right.
Great to talk to you
thanks,
again.
Guys.
That's Chip Kelly, UCLA head coach.